We have a special guest in our ET Now studios today, Vishal Mehta, the founder and CEO of Infibeam. And as we told you, this is the first e-commerce IPO to hit the Indian market. So clearly a lot of excitement. Vishal, I know you can't get into the specifics because your roadshow kicks off tomorrow. But I must say you're a very brave man to be listing in the current environment. Take us through the timing and why India and not NASDAQ or NYSE as some of the other tech companies prefer.
Sure, thanks Chandra. So we're very excited about this. I think the timing of the IPO is March 21st. That's when the IPO initiates to 23rd. We've been in e-commerce for the last 7 years. I started out in 2007 with my team, and we've got a business model which is somewhat, very synergistic and integrated. We provide a platform so that most of the merchants can build their own online shop called Build a Bazaar Marketplace. We've got many merchants building up their own e-commerce website as well as e-commerce store using our infrastructure. And you'll see a lot of websites that you go to in store names which will essentially have something which is called powered by Infibeam. So in other words, merchants can build their own store, and they can also reach out to users and consumers directly on their own store. We also allow users to access such products when the merchants want to actually publish that on any of the marketplaces. So we've got a very interesting synergistic model where we allow merchants to reach out to users across multiple destinations, the end destination or website, including their own. And we think about the timing of the IPO and many others, we'll have to, of course, leave it to the bankers to give us advice on what's the best time, and we've decided that this is a good time for us.
All right, Vishal, what I want to ask you is this, Infibeam was the first e-commerce company in the country, yes. But that e-commerce story has taken many twists and turns, especially over the last couple of years. So what makes Infibeam different from the other big names in the market? And why would, for instance, somebody go on infibeam.com to buy a phone, considering the options available?
Sure. Krishna, that's a great question. And I will tell you that usually there is always a merchant who's selling a product. And a merchant wants to reach out to users, as in a customer, across any destination. If you look at the physical world, it is somewhat very similar. You will have a customer walking into any of the stores, and they will pick up the product based on what they feel is appropriate in terms of pricing, convenience, trust, whatever you call it. So if you look at the virtual world, it's not very different than the online world. And in the online world, you will, of course, have destinations that are somewhat more preferred compared to others. Okay. But that does not mean that merchants would not have an option to build out their own. What we do is we actually eat up the cost of technology. So in other words, rather than going back and making everyone invest into technology, can we actually provide a Build a Bazaar Marketplace platform so that merchants can start building up their own? You try to make it more and more variable for the merchant and make it fixed cost for you. Okay. So as you keep on investing into hardware, into software infrastructure, into supply chain logistics, can you actually reduce the cost of the merchant to go online, where they can build out their own brand presence as well as allow them to sell across any of the destinations? So customers are tied to offers, customers are tied to opportunities and attractive discounts. And what we believe in is that let users actually go back and make the preference and choices of how they would like to transact.
All right, Vishal, Chandra has another question for you.
Right. Vishal, we've seen a sobering as far as valuations are concerned. If you've seen what Morgan Stanley did with Flipkart and even Inmobi now, people say is no longer a unicorn. Considering all these factors, are you nervous ahead of the roadshow, ahead of the listing?
See, I will not be able to comment on specifics, but what we do know and what I can tell you, Chandra, is that there is a lot of users joining the online bandwagon. So in other words, if you look at the internet penetration in India, that has grown significantly in the past several years. If you look at the latest Technopack reports, it will show that there are about 35 million customers who are transacting on e-commerce, and that same number is expected to go to 180 million in the next 5 years. So as you actually go back and think about the e-commerce evolution in the ecosystem, with rising internet penetration, with more and more consumers looking at opportunities to discover and find products online, that we believe that the overall ecosystem is growing. And I believe also that as consumers are online, that businesses will also have to go back and build out presence where consumers are. And that's what we believe we should continue doing, which is providing ecosystems and opportunities for merchants to build their own using our Build a Bazaar marketplace.
All right, Vishal, that's where I come in with my question. Now, you have an e-commerce marketplace and then you have a SaaS platform, Build a Bazaar.
That's right.
Talk to us, what exactly will be the one driving traction going forward? Where will the focus be now that you're all set to be a public listed company in hours from now?
So we will, I will tell you more, because I know I will have certain compliances and guidelines. But what I can tell you is that, if you look at our revenues and if you look at the projections, that our services revenue, if you will, which is coming from the SaaS platform, where we actually have a variable fee from merchant or a fixed fee that we essentially earn based on giving infrastructure to the merchants. Services revenues, which is the Build a Bazaar marketplace revenues, have grown significantly year over year.
Okay.
Last year we had about close to 66 crores, and the year prior we were in the 30 crores.
Okay.
So we've been growing, at a three-digit percentages.
Yeah.
If you look at the 6 months ending September, we closed at 48.7 crores. So if you look at the overall year opportunity, which we will perhaps discuss at the right time, that we clearly see that there's going to be a focus in terms of building out the Build a Bazaar market infrastructure.
Chandra, this man is very tight-lipped. Over to you.
Hi, Vishal, finally, I'm sure you're going to open up once the IPO is in place, and we'll get you back again on Startup Central. But finally, one word that internet companies hate, but investors love, profitability. What is your own path going to be as far as that is concerned?
Yeah, if you look at the past several years, we've always focused on profitability as well. If you look at the September financials, which we have filed our RHP with, September 15 financials, we have a positive PAT. Year over year, you've reduced your losses. We have forward invested for the past several years. And as we keep on building out and as our services portion of our revenue grow, we've actually provided segmental results as well that we believe there is more and more ahead. So it is not a one-time event, but we want to continuously focus on profitability, but we will of course forward invest in our growth as well.
Vishal Mehta, founder and CEO of Infibeam, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on ET Now Startup Central. And we here at ET Now Startup Central wish you all the best.
Thank you.
For a wonderful journey on Dalal Street then.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.